Dar swung his legs over the edge of the bed, looked out at the dark beyond the glass of his tall condo windows, muttered, "Shit," and got up to take a fast shower. It took him 2 minutes less than an hour to drive there from San Diego, pushing the Acura NSX hard through the canyon turns, slamming it into high gear on the long straights, and leaving the radar detector in the tiny glove compartment, because he assumed that all of the highway patrol cars working S-22 would be at the scene of the accident. It was paling towards sunrise as he began the long 6% grade, 4,000-foot descent past Ranchita toward Borrego Springs and the Anza Borrego Desert. One of the problems with being an accident reconstruction specialist, Dar was thinking as he shifted the NSX into third and took a decreasing radius turn effortlessly, with only the throaty purr of the exhaust marking the deceleration and then the shift back up to speed, is that almost every mile of every damned highway holds the memory of someone's fatal stupidity. The NSX roared up a low rise in the pre-dawn glow, and then growled down the long, twisty descent into the canyon some miles below. There, thought Dar, glancing quickly at an unremarkable stretch of old single-height guardrail set on wooden posts flashing past on the outside of a tight turn. Right there. A little more than 5 years ago, Dar had arrived at that point only 35 minutes after a school bus had struck that stretch of old guardrail, scraped along it for more than 60 feet, and plunged over the embankment, rolled 3 times down the steep, boulder-strewn hillside, and had come to rest on its side, with its shattered roof in the narrow stream below. The bus had been owned by the Desert Springs School District and was returning from an Eco-Week overnight camping trip in the mountains, carrying 41 sixth-grade students and 2 teachers. When Dar arrived, ambulances and Flight for Life helicopters were still carrying off seriously injured children. A mob of rescue workers was handing litters hand over hand up the rocky slope, and yellow plastic tarps covered at least 3 small bodies on the rocks below. When the final tally came in, 6 children and 1 teacher were dead, 24 students were seriously injured, including 1 boy who would be a paraplegic for the rest of his life, and the bus driver received cuts, bruises, and a broken left arm. Dar was working for the NTSB then. It was the year before he quit the National Transportation Safety Board to go to work as an independent accident reconstruction specialist. That time, the call came to his condo in Palm Springs. For days after the accident, Dar watched the media coverage of the terrible tragedy. The LA television stations and newspapers had decided early on that the bus driver was a heroine, and their coverage reflected that stance. The driver's post-crash interview and other eyewitness testimony, including that of the teacher who had been sitting directly behind one of the children who had perished, certainly suggested as much. All agreed that the brakes had failed about 1 mile after the bus began its long, steep descent. The driver, a 41-year-old divorced mother of 2, had shouted at everyone to hang on. What followed was a terrifying 6-mile mad mouse ride, with the driver doing her best to keep the careening bus on the road, the brakes smoking but obviously not slowing the vehicle enough, children flying out of their seats on the sharp turns, and then the final crash, grinding, and plummet over the embankment. All agreed that there was nothing the driver could have done, that once the brakes had failed, it had been a miracle that she had kept the bus on the road as long as she had. Dar read the editorials proclaiming that the driver was the kind of hero for whom no tribute could be too great. 2 Los Angeles TV stations carried live coverage of the school board meeting, during which parents of the surviving children gave testimonials to the driver's heroic attempts to save the bus under impossible circumstances. The NBC Nightly News did a 4-minute special profile piece on this driver and other school bus drivers who had been injured or killed in the line of duty. Tom Brokaw called this driver and others like her America's unsung heroes. Meanwhile, Dar gathered information. The school bus was a 1989 model TC-2000, manufactured by the Bluebird Body Company and purchased new by the Desert Springs School District. It had power steering, a diesel engine, and a Model AT545 4-speed automatic transmission from the Allison Transmission Division of General Motors.